done stepped in the game? At point blank range, who done stepped in the game? At point blank range, who done stepped in the game? Stepped in the game, stepped in the game.
As it so turns out, I've been unable to contact him today. There's been no response. So I'm not too certain exactly what's going on. So in the process of trying to send him the link for this hangout to get this going, and because I now owe all of you guys and anyone who came here to watch this an explanation before I'm accused of throwing up clickbait, because what I'm about to do isn't what I promised would take place tonight. So here goes that explanation. In the process of trying to get him in here, send him the link. Of course, I was not contacted directly concerning this particular position that was taken, but I went to his channel to see what was up, what's going on, has he been active, get the name, drop the link over there. And in the process, after giving him a link in Google Hangouts instant messaging and sending him on over Google+.
But if you actually attempted to contact me over Google+, the first thing you would see when you sign in is that, hey, you have notifications. And one of those notifications should be, hey, you've been mentioned in a post by ShadowCasts Infinite no more than 19 minutes before your event was scheduled to start. In here, it clearly states that I Take to My Face-to-Face was in Gamer was canceled tonight as the YouTube event appears to be canceled. Works for me since I just got home anyways. I'll eat some food and perhaps we can schedule another time. You see, I thought that this was canceled because the YouTube event deleted and the Google Hangout deleted. Once I did more research, I found out that this is actually commonplace and when you do a Google Live event with the chat and all that other kind of stuff going. Did you know that?
Where he pretty much stated that he would not accept coming to a one-on-one with yours truly. I can't say I know exactly why after positioning it in such a way that he would show up and was completely in as far as the process that is done here, has been done here for the last 3 face-to-face videos. Why it didn't occur to him prior to today that he wasn't going to show up, because that's a level of inconvenience it's left me in a bind. Here I am with a wrongly named video, which I will rename after this is done, and no guest and no message either. I had to go to the channel, which I might not have done in the first place, but on a chance I did so, seeing the message which it left in a video, a regular uploaded pre-recorded video, which states very clearly that he will not accept this face-to-face, this one-on-one. Instead, because it would be unfair of me to simply label it out like that and not say what he said. Instead, based on what I gather from the video, and if there are any misconstrued points or any misunderstandings, or if I see things the wrong way, or if this video, what I say here, rubs you the wrong way, ShadowCasts, you can blame no one but yourself, because this was about understanding a face-to-face where videos and side snipping and emotional responses outside of the presence of the individual you seem to have an issue with or that you wish to speak with, if anything is misunderstood or misconstrued and any point offends you here, that is your own fault. You have no one to blame but yourself.
First things first, with regards to me not being around and making a video saying I would not ever do a face-to-face, let's roll that lovely bean footage, shall we?
I'm willing to do not the one-on-one, but the one on 5, 6, 7, however many people it is that actually have an issue. I have a strange feeling that there's only very few and they've already expressed themselves in certain ways, but they tend to go around and dance around it instead of directly talking about exactly what it is.
So, what part of that actually sat here and made you think that I wasn't willing to do a face-to-face? It sounds here like I was willing to do not only a face-to-face, but a face-to-many. As in, whoever else we could add in there, you could just moderate. I could either do it with one extra person or many people, because I wanted to get it out of the way instead of doing it over several videos, taking up all this time and, obviously helping your channel out, but whatever, it doesn't really matter to me. And it's just going to be time consuming, scheduling and getting all these different appointments together, because obviously I would rather discuss these issues with everyone that is involved in this, said people, if you will. So if there are multiple people, then those multiple people should be able to address all their issues. And what's the point in doing it over several days and we're rehashing the same issues over and over again? Because I would imagine a lot of the issues are probably stemming from a singular thing, and we would just be repeating the same issue over and over again from 5 different perspectives, and that's a little redundant. We can get the things that are common out of the way, and nobody really has to address those again and again. To me, that makes way more sense. And that was the point of that comment that I made. The only other comment that I mentioned that was close to talking about what you were assuming was that I didn't think it was a good idea. And I think I just explained why it wasn't a good idea. At no point did I say, hey, I'm not going to be in your video. No, buddy. You decided to assume that yourself and take it that way. If you actually checked your Google Plus like you said you did to invite me, you would have saw that 19 minutes prior to you going live, I was ready to go. Really, dude?
So you, Shadow Fox, would have been the next person in line to go through that process with me, which is personally my initiative to achieve some sort of a healing when it comes to the rift between this and that side. I don't need to go into any specifics. You already know what it is.
No, I don't know what it is. And the rift? You left with no warning and a vague explanation when it actually came down to it, and you needed to tell people what you were doing and why. There was no why explained, but whatever.
But in that video, you addressed a number of things. I won't jump into things that have no concern or that doesn't concern me at all in the beginning of the video, but towards the end of the video, about halfway through, we started to address what I believe was related to my series and, of course, to me and certain individuals. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. Not certain individuals. To members of Reboot Gaming, being, of course, Coupon Strives, and I think somewhere along the line you may have been referring to Active Sin Gaming. So, again, if this video rubs you the wrong way and it comes off the wrong way, once again, you have no one to blame but yourself.
Because clearly you're assuming my video is about certain people, and 5 minutes prior in the video you say everything was crystal clear, but you're still assuming, but you're going to place the blame on me because you decided to overreact over what you thought you heard or what you think is going on, but you can't confirm it, right? But yet I'm supposed to be the one that's upset, and if I'm upset, then it's my fault. Right, got it. Yeah, that's logic.
The open platform is still open. You have the links and you can jump in and we can get this thing going.
Yeah, it's so open and I can hop in at any time. I showed up 30 minutes after you completed this hangout video where you were talking to the audience for about 35 minutes by yourself. And as soon as I make comments or whatever on the video, you actually reply to my comments, so you're clearly online, but you no longer want to do the hangout. But it's open and I can join at any time, right? I was clearly there, willing to join and do the face-to-face, even the way that you wanted to be one-on-one. And you declined me, I guess, because you were upset that I didn't join over the 35 minutes that you were on talking by yourself. If you really wanted me on, and you really wanted to do this, then if I come after the fact and you're still there, you'd be willing to start it up, wouldn't you? Seems to me like if you wanted to address the issue and this is the only way you think you can fix the quote-unquote drama, why didn't you reopen the Hangout?
In it, he said that the face-to-face format, the face-to-face show, is built from the ground up as a cry for attention.
That is incorrect there, King of Logic. I actually only mentioned something about a cry for attention when I was referring to individuals' behavior on Google Plus and YouTube. I said nothing about that with regards to your face-to-face format. I think I've already clearly, in other comments in this very video, addressed what I thought about the face-to-face format. And I did not mention cry for attention. Get it right.
I didn't go to your channel or get invited to one of your ShadowCasts and say, no, I'm not going to show up there because it will drive audience and views to your channel, because as per the name ShadowCasts and the fact that you thought of it, that you host it, and it's on your channel, I think that's the way it works. So you won't see me sitting here saying, I'm not going to show up there because it's going to give you views.
No, instead you didn't show up to ShadowCast because you excommunicated everyone associated with the rift that you've yet to explain. As a matter of fact, you've only been to one ShadowCast before the rift, and that was way back in March 2015. And even then, in that video, I had to force you to talk by asking you a question directly, and only then you actually started talking more than 2 seconds at a time. I don't monetize my content, so boosting views is of zero purpose for me, in direct contrast to you, and you are a YouTube partner. I do this in my spare time for no money because A, it doesn't pay enough anyway, and B, it's not worth having my opinion censored simply because I want to manage my views and subscriptions and fear that I would lose them. Really? Like, this is my channel. I have my channel for a reason. I do this in my spare time. I could lose 500 subs tomorrow. It doesn't matter. As long as I still have one, then I'm talking to somebody. And that's all that matters to me. You, on the other hand, gotta get that check, right?
Someone called you a tech troll, and I believe it was Coupon Stripes called you a tech troll. I'm sorry, Shadow Fox, but you say that that's a name that should not be used by individuals who are not aware of the connotations that it possesses, or shouldn't be used by individuals. And I know what you meant by occupation, where certain behaviors were taught. From what I understand, she was in the military, so yeah, you preyed upon that fact to make it seem as if she was in the wrong for saying what she said, when you didn't seem to reflect and look upon your own actions and behaviors. If other person's behaviors bother you, then you should really be mindful of what you do.
So refresh my memory on these said actions, if you will. At what point in time have I completely dropped the argument at hand to take the time to call somebody a name simply because of what I think they do, in my opinion? A derogatory name at that, or even a silly name. It doesn't even necessarily have to be derogatory or something that would hurt somebody's feelings, but just something that would be off topic enough to where I'm waving the forced hand so you can't see me losing the argument. At what point have I done that type of name calling ad hominem? In the middle of a debate? In the middle of an argument of some type? Yeah, I don't see me doing that either in any of the debates that I have. So where exactly are you getting that from? Logic?
As far as you being a tech troll, as keyed by Coupon or whoever it is that said it, I'm assuming it was Coupon, I think it was Coupon. That is exactly what you were, because for a number of nights now, for many of my live streams, you are subscribed. You have to be, because you are there almost 70 to 80% of the time.
That would be woefully incorrect. Zen, I've only seen 2 of your live streams. Only 2. 80%? That means you've only done 3 live streams. And even then, that puts me at 66%. Stop reaching.
And you regularly get into altercations with other viewers who are there because your opinions don't seem to mesh. In fact, I seem to recall a debate that took place because of that very same situation, where, unbeknownst to me, yourself and Shokio happened to bounce into my video at that time, and you both got into it, and it led to a debate that very same night. That very same night. So when you come into another person's live stream and your entire purpose is to flaunt your, what is the term I'm looking for? What's the words I'm looking for? Your technological knowledge on other people whom you know may have a bit of a disadvantage in understanding exactly where you're coming from, then use that from an antagonistic standpoint to fuel a fight.
No, I actually watched your live streams to see what it was you actually had to say on the topic at hand in whatever certain videos that you had. That's really low for you, Zen, for you to assume something like that. Like, you're assuming a lot of things. You're assuming that I'm coming into a chat specifically to go troll people, when I don't even know if you have chat enabled on any of your live events. I don't know until I get there. So how could I have a purpose before I even go and look at the video? I myself didn't even know that Google Live events, that you were even doing Google Live events and that chat was enabled. For all I knew, you were just doing another live hangout.
I think that makes you a tech troll, Shadow Fox. You didn't come in there all chill like everyone else, just willing to listen to what was being said. You came in there to fight.
Again, you're incorrect. Number one, no, I do not come to your chats to fight. Number two, no, everyone else is not perfect. They're in there talking about things that are completely unrelated to what you're talking about. There are so many unrelated, off-the-topic things that people are goofing off about, to include sexual innuendo in your chats on your live Google Hangout when you're supposedly talking about video games. How are you going to sit here and dictate and say who's to talk about what, when half of the people that are on your chat aren't talking about the topic at hand? But you're going to complain when I don't? Really? I'm talking about the topic at hand that somebody else mentions, and I either correct them on something wrong, or I talk about something else that I want to talk about. Just because it makes you upset doesn't mean that I'm trolling. I respond to what someone else says. I don't go out to find anyone. And you would know that by now because you've done multiple podcasts with me before. Why you're acting brand new is actually kind of bewildering.
Your weapon, your knowledge. So I think you just need to accept what was said about you and move the hell on. Or we can hash it out as was originally planned tonight, and we can put this all to rest.
But you didn't actually do that, did you? No, that would make way too much sense. Instead, you wanted to argue with me in your own comment section regarding me coming to the video and finding out that me not joining was a Googleism and your miscalculation because you didn't look at a message that I sent you 19 minutes prior to you starting. Really? If anybody needs to get over it, it's you, dude.
Yet on your own channel, you have videos uploaded where you invite an individual to a debate or a conversation. And in said debate or conversation, it's literally 1-on-4 or 1-on-5.
Oh, really? The only situation where the 4-on-1 or 5-on-1 situation could have even been possible would have been with the last debate I did with Lolzy. And that was only because I've already debated Lolzy 2 other times by myself. As a matter of fact, every other debate video I've done has been 1-on-1 since the beginning. The only other times that any other people or multiple people are on my podcast are on ShadowCasts. You were on one of them, you know how they go. Usually what ends up happening is if somebody ducks my debate, I end up turning it into a ShadowCast because there's no point in me being online talking to myself. So I add other people in after they ducked me. It just so happens that Lolzy ducked me that night, but then he decided to show up later. So when he came back later, I had already started the ShadowCast with other people in it. How about next time you actually watch the videos that you're trying to make assumptions on then you won't sound so, I don't know, ill-informed when you're trying to make your point here. Because you're not really making one at all.
It's always skewed to your favor. Always skewed to your favor. Yet you have the unmitigated gall to sit here in that very sharp-looking red shirt, by the way, or maroon. I'm not too sure what the color is. Might be a little bit colorblind. But you have the unmitigated gall to sit there in that maroon shirt and tell me, or speak of me and my format, and saying that it's a cry for attention?
If you must know, that shirt was given to me by my loving spouse, and since I work in the information technology industry, I tend to wear that on certain days. I wear that type of attire on certain days, and that was the shirt I decided to pick that day. So I wore it when I came home from work and decided to do that podcast that day. If you must know. I mean, really? A red shirt? Zen, are you running out of things to point out, man? There's other points you could be making other than that. Are you really reaching?
You took one of the biggest YouTubers on the quote-unquote crumb side of YouTube from a live chat, my live chat, and then set up a debate with that individual on your own channel. Was the purpose of this simply to talk about what you had problems understanding in the live chat? Or was there a secondary purpose in driving the views you knew would come along with Shokyo to your channel? Because, I mean, if a business is built from the ground up to make money, and water is wet and the sun is hot, then yeah, that's what you're doing.
Then the sun is cold and water is dry, and your logic is broken. Because I don't make money off YouTube like you do. I choose not to. So me having hits is irrelevant. And just so you know, that wasn't just on my channel. Shokyo also hosted it on his channel, and he had substantial views on his channel versus mine. On my channel, it was about average compared to all the other debates that I do. I think Lolzy probably was the biggest one. So Lolzy actually had more traffic on my channel than Shokyo did. But thank you for reaching yet again.
No more face-to-face tonight. I will change the title to something more suiting what I said tonight, and I will leave it as that. I don't know why you chose this route. I suppose it'll go down in history as me never understanding why you chose this route. But all I can say is that this is just the way it is. This is just the way it is. I didn't besmirch your name. I didn't say anything that I should not have said given the contents of your video today. So I believe this comes one of those moments where you kind of just have to deal with it and move on. I'm not saying the boat has sailed. I'm not saying the train has left the station. The door is still wide open. You just need to walk through it.
The thing is, I did walk through it. And I did reach out to you and expressed with great concern about 30 minutes after this went live that I still wanted to do the debate or the face-to-face, if you will. You chose, after that, to decide not to do it, even though you continued to stay online for several minutes after that. Who knows, maybe hours. You have every opportunity to contact me. You have my Wii U profile. You have my Xbox Live account. We've played Killer Instinct together before. And you see me on Google Plus and YouTube every day. There are no excuses. Shit happens with regards to Google Hangouts, excuse my French. Shit happens with regards to YouTube, excuse my French. Whenever you try to make something live, it happens all the time. But when somebody is actually reaching out to you, trying to make up for the Googleisms, if you will, and you just scoff at it and say, no, I'm not going to do it, it's too late, or you're going to have to wait in line for somebody else when nobody else is willing to join that night, and you don't look like you have another one scheduled anytime soon, so what's the hold up, bruh? If you want to do a face-to-face and you really want to put everything on the table, because yeah, I'll put it this way: there will be no punches pulled if we're going to do this. Then you should have been willing to do it that night. You knew I was there. It wasn't like you went off that. You turned everything off right after you did the hangout. I was present. You were present. So it's nobody's fault but yours because you decided not to open it up again. And I did reach out to you before the podcast started because I thought that you weren't going to do it since I saw all the cancellations. You never replied to that. And then when I pointed it out to you, you never said anything like, oh, I didn't see that. Instead, you tried to direct the blame and say, you didn't see the multiple accounts that I tried to post to, blah, 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 blah. That is what we call dodging. I've pointed out several fallacies in your arguments that you tried to make during your hangout, which effectively makes every point that you're trying to make broken. You tried to assume that I was attacking people with technology as my weapon, which is false. I come in the chat and people are already talking about things that are well off topic. I've only been to 2 of your live Google Hangouts to even be in a chat. I barely even knew how chat works. That's how often I'm inside of a live Google Hangout. That's how often I'm in a live event on Google or YouTube. I never really have any gang up debates when I debate someone. I've only done it one time, and it was the 3rd time I debated Losey. The 3rd. And that was only because he didn't show up from the beginning. He was supposed to be there from the beginning, and he came later on after I'd already invited like 4 or 5 people into the ShadowCast, because it became a ShadowCast after that. You attempt to say that I'm reaching out for attention with my podcast and with me wearing a red shirt, when I've proven to you thoroughly in this video that I don't need it because I'm not a YouTube partner. I never plan to be a YouTube partner, despite me having high views in a Losey debate, more so than the Shokyo debate that you tried to prove that I was reaching for attention. But it didn't even get me as much attention as I initially had way back in 2014. Really, Zen, this is the case, and this is the point. You're upset because I didn't show up at your prime time, at your designated time, and it wasn't my fault. I wouldn't even say it's 100% your fault. Google sends things that gives people the wrong impression. You decided to take it very personally and assume that I was somehow disrespecting you. I can't apologize for that because I can't apologize for your assumptions. That is highly illogical. And frankly, it's an infernal thought process. So really, do you play games to have fun or to impress other people?
They're paying double to finish the arc ahead of schedule. That's on top of what they're offering to kill you.